Tonight on Denver7 News at 10, a critical piece of interstate in desperate need of repairs.
You got people going like 90 and like 60s, 80s and like 50s, and it's just sheer chaos.
Narrow lanes, crumbling concrete, sinking pavement. I-270 needs help now. The $500 million plan from CDOT.
Sobering new warnings from Colorado Public Health as hospitals feel the strain.
Merry Christmas to you.
And badly in need of a holiday miracle.
So we lost 3 months, a whole entire quarter of our year, a quarter of sales.
The local spot with a new plan to step up socially distant selling. Welcome to Denver7 News at 10. I'm JACLYN Allen.
And I'm Gary Broad in for Jason Grinauer. Thanks for joining us. Here's a live look right now from I-270 at I-25. With just 2 lanes in each direction, I-270 is often one of the most congested highways in the entire metro.
It's also one of the most critical, especially for truckers and for people heading to the airport. The highway is badly in need of a makeover, to say the least. Denver7's Lance Hernandez is taking a look at what CDOT now wants to do.
This is a critical stretch of interstate.
I-270 runs nearly 7 miles from I-76 near I-25 down to I-70 near Quebec. It was built more than 50 years ago.
Honestly, it's a mess.
And is in dire need of improvements.
270 is in really bad shape, I think. The roads, they're too narrow.
We need to add capacity to the roadway. It needs safety improvements as well. It needs it just needs to be brought up to modern standards.
Without improvements, CDOT says drivers will be looking at substantial delays, higher than average crash ratings, deteriorating infrastructure, and safety operational issues for trucks. So what does CDOT want to do? Widen the highway, either with an additional general purpose lane or express lane in each direction. CDOT also wants to replace 6 bridges.
The bridges identified in green are more than 50 years old and would be replaced to meet modern safety standards.
Engineers want a complete rebuild of the road west of Brighton Boulevard, which was built over a landfill. The pavement is sinking several inches a year, creating undulating pavement. The other big proposal, replacing the Cloverleaf interchange at Vasquez, adding standard off-ramps.
Note the traffic congestion on the left is removed by the proposed improvements on the right.
The entire project could cost upward of $500 million. CDOT has some funding to do the assessment, planning, and engineering. The Federal Highway Administration expected to make a decision on whether to move forward on the project by the end of next year. If you'd like to weigh in, you can take the virtual tour. We have a link in our web story. Lance Hernandez, Denver7.
Tonight, hospitals from coast to coast are under intense pressure. The COVID tracking project says more than 100,000 people are in the hospital because of the coronavirus, and our nation reported more than 210,000 new COVID-19 cases today. The U.S. added more than 1 million new cases in the first 5 days of December alone. Doctors warn that the surge could get even worse soon as the full extent of spread from Thanksgiving travel becomes clear.
And Colorado is struggling to slow the spread. Our state reported more than 5,000 new cases today. We've had more than 3,000 each day in December. Another critical measure, the number of hospital beds in use because of the virus. Today it stands at just above 1,800. That's down a little from the peak this week. But a dire new warning from state health staff today. 1 in 40 Coloradans is infected with the virus. Staff warns that we need to stick to mask wearing and social distancing to avoid overwhelming our hospitals.
The FDA has not yet approved a COVID-19 vaccine, but Colorado already placed its first order. The state requested nearly 47,000 doses of Pfizer's version. That company's research shows that the shot is 95% effective. The FDA plans to meet on Thursday to discuss emergency use authorization of the treatment. The first round of vaccines will go to high-risk groups like medical staff and people in nursing homes.
Having the vaccine available is one thing. Getting people to take it, that's a whole other story. A survey by Healthier Colorado found 60% of people in our state do plan to get an FDA-approved shot if it's provided at no cost. 21% do not plan to get it, and 19% are unsure. Now, little is known about the long-term side effects from these shots. Dr. Anthony Fauci says, in general, 90% of negative effects from vaccines show up in the first 6 weeks.
For Colorado stores, this is a critical time of year. Holiday shopping can account for nearly half of yearly sales at some stores. Well, with new capacity caps and social distancing, stores need more than in-person sales to survive. At the Stanley Marketplace in Aurora, staff are driving web sales with the new online portal. They're even making local deliveries with an electric cart.
It's like Stanley Prime, our version of bringing small business goods to local folks in the neighborhood.
It's a huge deal, and we are so grateful to the community for embracing this.
And you can get 24-hour delivery in a 6-mile radius from the Stanley Market, or you can have your order shipped instead.
Tonight, police in Fort Lupton are asking for your help to track down these 2 people after a deadly shooting. Police want to speak to Preston Cordova and Sierra Mayes. Officers responded to the parking lot of the KC Motel on 1st Street today around 3. They found a man who had been shot. He was taken to the hospital and did not survive. If you have a tip, please call Fort Lupton Police.
In a hard-fought race to replace George Brockler as 18th Judicial District Attorney, Democrat Amy PADDEN is conceding. The race was so close, it went to a mandatory recount. At last check, Republican John Kellner was ahead by just over 1,400 votes. It's not yet clear how much the recount affected his lead. This afternoon, PADDEN put out a statement congratulating Kellner on his win. And the district covers Arapahoe, Douglas, Elbert, and Lincoln counties. Current district attorney, Republican George Brockler, is term limited.